Okay, we're getting started on the right day, but a little bit late. Sorry about that. I had to get up obscenely early and do some stuff, and then when I got home, I just kind of collapsed and woke up several hours later. So that's why we're starting at after 6 tonight. Hopefully, I won't make a habit of that. Anyway, welcome back for Impact Wrestling from November the 17th. Wow, you guys showed up fast. Good for you. Okay, let's get started. As usual, spoiler warning is in effect. Please do not post the taping results for future shows in the chat room as a courtesy to people who don't like to be spoiled. And is there anything else? No, I think that's it. Sorry, I'm a little out of it. I'm still waking up. But yeah, don't post the show results in the chat room. That goes for everybody. And let's get started. So, our show from this past Thursday starts with Eddie Edwards coming out to cut a admittedly not so great promo about how he wants to fight someone after the DCC laid him out last week, laid him out the previous week, which leads to the DCC showing up and laying him out again. Then Jeff Don't Call Me Brother Nero Hardy comes out and runs the heels off. I think we've kind of seen the extent of Eddie's ability on the microphone at this point, and the results haven't been as good as I'd like them to be. Also, Jeff is just back to being Jeff now, with no real explanation there. Why are the DCC still wearing masks? If we know who they are now. I don't know. So, an okay segment for setting up the main event, but I have some questions here and concerns. The DCC are looking more dangerous now, but I was hoping we'd get more of an explanation from them about why they're doing all this and what their MO is. Nothing terrible here, but nothing to write home about either. So after this, we have Jesse Goddard and Aaron Rex having another match, non-title this time, but Jesse goes over in this one, so I guess this will continue to be a thing for a while. Funny thing about this match, they actually ditched the 3-round format for this one, and I didn't even notice until it was almost over. So I guess that's just done now. Okay, whatever. It was an interesting experiment, but I'm not really complaining about them doing away with it. Ultimately, I could take or leave the 3-round format, so I'm ambivalent about this. I will say that out of the 3 matches these two have had in the last few weeks, I probably enjoyed this one the most. So, by doing away with the 3-round stuff, I don't think we've really lost anything. Although, I still think the feud is missing something. Maybe a little more story. Maybe a little bit more character stuff on Jesse's side. I'm not sure. I'll come back to that. So, we have a backstage segment where Gail Kim gives up the Knockouts Championship because of an injury. Now, this was reported a couple weeks ago that she had some kind of back injury or something. And so she says that she cares about honoring the Knockouts Championship too much to just hold it on the sidelines or whatever. Well, funny, because isn't that basically exactly what she's been doing since the last match with Maria? I don't know. And anyway, this got under my skin for a couple different reasons. First, if that whole thing last week was because of an injury, then why was she making it sound like a retirement? Second, why the hell did they have to say that the injury happened in the match with Maria? Would it really have been so hard to say that she was injured because of what Rosemary did to her last week? Rosemary is the one going for the Knockouts title now. So if she's the one who put Gail Kim out of action with an injury so bad that she had to relinquish the championship, that does something for Rosemary. Makes Rosemary look dangerous. But when you say that the injury happened in a glorified squash match that Gail dominated against a woman that Gail's not even feuding with anymore, that doesn't really do anything for anyone. So they're just taking something that could help Rosemary and throwing it away, which just seems wasteful. Third, apparently the injury is a shoot. All right, it's a real thing. I'm not saying it isn't. However, the timing of this is very, very convenient. Following a very lengthy stretch where Gail was glorified at every opportunity, to the point where pretty much every other knockout not named Maria suffered because they couldn't get spotlighted or featured much at all because the whole division was the Gail Kim show for months, for which the payoff was nothing more than 2 squash matches and another title win. Gail doesn't even have to do a job to somebody or put over the next champion to make them look legit. She gives up the title because of some fluke injury, which by her own admission on Twitter isn't even that serious, and she doesn't even have to give a rub to the next champion or put her over in any way. I'm sorry, but one disingenuous pep talk about Jade last week doesn't count. Like I said, the injury may be real, but the timing is extremely suspect. Because it's just another case of Gail losing something when she's 150% protected, so the new girls don't get anything out of it whatsoever, which once again benefits absolutely no one except Gail. And I know I'm not the only one who's sick and tired of that. But anyway, the Knockouts title is now vacant, and the new champion will be decided in a match next week between Jade and Rosemary. So Rosemary attacks Gail, attacks Jade, and gets rewarded with a title match. There are no qualifying matches, no explanation for how Rosemary, and Jade for that matter, became number 1 contender. She just did. I'm not complaining, but I am confused. Considering how much this company just adores Gail Kim, you'd think Rosemary would be punished for what she did. But no, she's getting rewarded. It's just very odd, you know? But anyway, this leads to the Decay confronting Jade and telling her that, Rosemary's up in the rafters, you should go visit her because... And so she goes up there to look for Rosemary. They meet up there and they have a little chat. And it probably wasn't too bright of Jade to do this after what Rosemary did last week, because this could have so easily been a trap. But whatever. Turns out it wasn't a trap, and Rosemary just wanted to talk, which leads me to think, why couldn't they have done this downstairs? Why did they have to go up to the roof? Or the rafters, whatever? Because they wanted that shot of the ring in the background. Anyway, this was actually really cool. I love the cinematography, the lighting, and the creative editing in this segment. Details like that are part of what makes Rosemary stand out from all the other knockouts the way she does. Because when she's in a pre-tape, it's going to be different from everything else on the show. And then there was the conversation itself, which I don't know if Rosemary was either giving Jade a warning or trying to seduce her. Possibly both. Either way, it's pretty hot. So then Rosemary says that they should make their match a steel cage match. That I have mixed feelings about. On the one hand, it's another unnecessary gimmick match when we've had an awful lot of those this year. Also, if this is going to be a feud for a while, and I'm assuming it is, why would you start it with a cage match? That's a match that's supposed to end a feud, not start one. What do they do after that? Are they going to have a regular match after the cage match? That doesn't make sense. On the other hand, since it is a match to crown a new champion, you could say that it's an important match and therefore the gimmick is warranted. And the fact that it's a knockout, excuse me, the fact that it's the knockouts in a cage match, which we don't see every day, makes it something unique. So I'm a little torn on this one, but I think I'm more in favor of it than not, just because it's a fresh feud and a big spot between two knockouts not named Gail Kim or Maria, who deserve more spotlight than they get. It's just a real damn shame that it takes Gail Kim going on the shelf for them to get it. Ideally, they'd get this because they're really good and they deserve it on their own merits, but no, it takes Gail Kim going on the shelf. Because otherwise, it would still be all about Gail Kim. And they wouldn't be getting this opportunity. Okay, well, at least they're getting it. So after this, we have we go on to our Knockouts tag team match with Sienna and Laurel Van Ness versus Brandy Rhodes and her chosen partner Madison Rayne. You see, Maria thought it was Allie, so she sent Allie to the back, which the crowd wasn't happy about. But no, it's rather than Allie, Brandy has chosen a partner who hasn't won a match in months. Ironically, going by their recent track record, Allie would have been a better partner. Because even though she's supposed to be playing the novice, she does have a win. She does have a recent win over her belt, which Madison doesn't. It's kind of funny, actually. But yeah, Madison has just been doing nothing lately. I bet the heels were really pissing themselves with fear over that one. But then they still lost. So yeah, Madison and Brandy still won. Okay. Unfortunately, I was not enamored with this match at all. There were a bunch of sloppy moments. Brandy still looks very, very green. She's still smiling when she should be selling. And the fact that she pinned Sienna, really? This is Sienna's first TV match in a while, and you have her do the job to a woman she looks like she could break in half? Remember when Sienna was supposed to be the new monster heel of this division? What happened to that? It looks like TNA are really gung-ho about making Brandy a big face in the knockout division, and I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it right now. The more I see of Brandy, the more I think she's just not ready for this. If TNA had a developmental system, that's where I'd put her. I'm not saying she won't be good eventually, but right now she just doesn't look ready. I look at Brandy, I see a person who's just too green to be getting a push like this. So after that, we cut back to the Hardy compound, where Matt is cleaning out his email inbox. So he's starting to remember that he likes to delete stuff, which I guess is progress. But then he hallucinates that Rebby is an overweight man. I have just as many questions as you do. So then Rebby has him watch the final deletion video to try to jog his memory, and why she didn't think to do that a lot sooner, I have no idea. But Matt is still not remembering, so I guess they're just going to continue doing this? So then we cut back to the Zone of Impact, where Basile Baraka has a match with Mahabali Shera. And Shera wins, and the Tribunal beat him down until Al Snow makes the save, and then they shake hands, and oh look, it's the Mega Powers coming together. Yay! Yes, Josh Matthews actually said that. Wow. Ugh. Moving on. We have the finals of the World Title Tournament, number one contendership match here. Fatal 4-way with EC3 versus Mike Bennett versus Lashley versus Trevor Lee. Now, on paper, you might be thinking that one of these things is not like the others, but actually you wouldn't have known it by watching this. Because not only did Trevor Lee get to be surprisingly competitive here, I dare say he was the star of this match, which was unexpected and pretty cool. I thought he stood out the most, he did the most impressive stuff. I even heard him talk for a second there. once or twice. It wasn't in a promo or anything, but believe it or not, that was the first time I've heard this dude actually speak since he debuted. Kind of wish I'd heard him speak sooner than this, but, you know, they don't let him cut promos for whatever reason, so it's the first time I've heard his voice, actually. Yeah, sure, Trevor Lee eating the pin at the end was probably a foregone conclusion, but I thought he looked the best out of every guy in there. He even got a believable pin attempt on Lashley at one point. I never thought he would win, but when he flipped Lashley's spear over into a pin cover, I did kind of scoot to the edge of my seat for a second there. So they kind of made me suspend my disbelief for a minute. That was well done. This kind of felt like a big coming out match for Trevor Lee. So I like the match a lot. I hope Trevor Lee's performance here will not be forgotten as he inevitably goes back to the X Division now, but it probably will. I was hoping that Mike Bennett would get the Duke here, but EC3 wins the title shot, which will now most likely be used to pour gas on the fire for his feud with Eli Drake, which just got a lot more interesting now after that Fact of Life segment. Excuse me. Speaking of which, another terrific Fact of Life segment with these two. Now we've got a role reversal where EC3 has the title shot and Eli Drake wants him to put it on the line with the stipulation that he won't challenge for the world title for 1 calendar year if he loses, which would be terrible. I would hate that, but it shows you how serious he is. But then EC3 ups the ante even more, so that if Eli Drake wins the match, EC3 loses his world title shot, but if EC3 wins, Eli Drake cannot cut promos for the rest of the year. And sure, that's only a month and a half, but a month and a half without Eli Drake promos, that's like a world without sunshine. I'm not sure how I want this to play out, to be honest. I'm really conflicted about this, actually. Either way, something great happens, but something horrible also happens. Hey, damn, that's when you know the stakes are high. I guess if I had to choose, I'd want Eli Drake to win, even though EC3 probably needs this win more right now. Because EC3 can get another title shot easily enough, but a month and a half without Eli Drake promos, that would the show would suffer for that. So I'd be leaning toward Eli Drake, but man, this is a tricky situation. Really interesting, though. So we come to our main event, Eddie Edwards and Jeff Hardy versus the DCC in a handicap match, which apparently was also a no DQ match, though I don't remember them actually announcing that. This didn't feel like a match so much as a slow-paced brawl / beatdown with some cool spots here and there, like Kingston getting suplexed onto the chairs and Jeff getting the brighter side of suffering through the table on the floor. Those are cool spots. I'm not going to call it the most exciting main event ever, but I'm still giving it a check in the win column because James Storm pinned Jeff Hardy to win the match. Give that man a world title shot, please. Hashtag James Storm for champ. If James Storm isn't the next world champion, I will complain on the internet. That's all I've got to say about that. This was another hit and miss Impact for me. There were some very good things on this show, but there were also some segments that were like, oh god, just end it already. Not a terrible show or anything, but they need to be more on the ball than this if they want to move the needle forward. All right. Wow. A lot of people in the chat. A lot of questions here. Let's see. What do you think TNA will do with Lashley now? We know that Eddie will face either Eli Drake or EC3 within 2 weeks. And on top of that, he's feuding with TNA's new faction, so he's occupied. Good question. Um, let's assume that Lashley is out of the world title picture for the moment. I guess he could go back to feuding with Moose. It feels like they could reignite that pretty easily. Um, that's a good question. I don't think he's got anything unresolved right now. Maybe they could start a new feud. I guess they need to take Lashley in a different direction. Not really sure. Let's see. Brandy is worse than Velvet. She's worse than Rebel. Hell, she can't. Hell, she's worse than Raquel. Why is she wrestling on TV? Can't you just have her appear on TV if she has to be there? By the way, Brandy pinning Sienna clean? Fucking bullshit. Are we supposed to take this seriously or not? Brandy is Lacey Von Erich level of bad. Her moves are incredibly sloppy. That backbreaker on Sienna looked dangerous. Also, she's smiling through the whole match. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna say she's Lacey Von Erich bad, because Lacey was so bad that that she was honestly a danger to herself and others in the ring. When Lacey was in the ring, I would fear for the safety of every person in the match. Because at any point in time, Lacey was like this close to crippling somebody. Just due to sheer sloppiness and just having no idea what she was doing. I'm not going to say Brandy's that bad. I think in Brandy's case, it's just her being like incredibly green and just not being prepared for the spot she's in. I think she's trying. I'm not going to say she's got no potential, but right now it's largely unrealized. And I think they're doing Brandy a real disservice by pushing her this much so soon. The frustrating thing about this is that it's not because of anything she's done. They're doing it because of Cody. They're not pushing her because she's good. They're pushing her because of who her husband is. It's pure nepotism. They just want to keep Cody happy so he keeps coming back. But in trying to appease Cody, they're really hurting Brandy's chances in the long run. Because pushing her before she's ready, that's not going to help her at all. And it's also leading to some bad matches in the knockout division. And at a time when WWE seems so gung-ho about pushing their divas, and putting them in high-profile spots for a change, and high-profile matches, and pushing the girls that are actually talented in the ring, why on earth would you want to do that? It just seems like a really bad idea to me. And I agree. Her pinning Sienna, that put a bad taste in my mouth. It's like, wow, there are just. I'm just not on board with this Brandy Rhodes push. I don't mean that as a criticism of Brandy. I don't think this is her fault, but they're pushing her way too soon. It's just not a good idea. Taking the DCC's theme music. I've only heard it once or twice. Yeah, twice. I like it. I'd have to listen to it again, but I think they can put that one in the win column at least. It's one of their better ones recently. Do you think Billy is completely gone from TNA? Most likely. He got the settlement. I guess he got the payoff from Anthem. So it looks like he's out of the picture completely, which kind of sucks. The Aiden O'Shea bodyguard boss thing is strange. Oh, I like that actually. It's nice to see Aiden O'Shea get a little bit of TV time. Because my buddies on the heel cast were campaigning to get him back on TV for a while. Plus, it means that we see less of Billy Corgan on TV. As much as I like the guy, he's not the best in an on-screen role. And I like it when the authority figure is not all over the show, because we see that on WWE TV. We've been seeing it on WWE TV for a long time. I just think it's a really played out concept, and it's really unnecessary. And I appreciate that TNA is the show that doesn't have the authority figure taken up like half half the show every week, because they get to focus on the wrestlers. So I don't think it's necessary to have the authority figure on the show every week. I really don't. So in this case, we don't see Billy because we see Aiden O'Shea, who kind of talks for him, and so Billy gets to stay backstage. I think it works. Let's see. Really like Aaron Rex as a heel. Agreed. He's better as a heel. He was a babyface at the end of his WWE run, but that's because he was so entertaining as a heel that they kind of had to turn him face. So maybe they could take the same route here. I've noticed after when Corgan left the company, TNA have been re-showing full matches at least once every episode, probably replacing them with footage they taped with Corgan. Were they not showing full matches before he left? I suppose it's possible he was on the show and they had to fill that with other stuff, but were they editing the matches to cut stuff out before? I don't know. I think the 3-round matches have not gone anywhere. This was a classic match since it was non-title. It's odd. So there's only a 3-round structure when the title is on the line? That's silly. Why would you not make the whole division the 3-round? Why would you not have the entire division conform to the 3-round structure? It just seems weird. Seems to me like that would hinder the Grand Championship's chances of getting over. It's like, well, it would feel like, well, we're not really committing to it, you know? That's odd. Rosemary wins the title, then Gail comes back in January, wins it back to become the record-breaking 7-time champion. God, I hope I'm wrong about that second part. Oh, God, me too. That'd be awful. Especially after what they did with Sienna and Jade's title reigns earlier this year. I mean, they finally put the title on Jade, did nothing with it because she was playing second fiddle to Gail the whole time. Then they put the title on Sienna, did nothing with her because she was playing second fiddle to Gail the whole time. And now we finally got Gail off TV for a while, so the other girls can have a chance to shine for a change. We're going to have a new champion. And if they put the belt on Rosemary, give Rosemary her first championship reign just so she can be the placeholder until Gail comes back to win the title again. Oh, fuck that. That would be awful. So you already had 2 first-time champions who had their title run thrown under the bus, and then you do the same to Rosemary? No. Rosemary's a special talent. They need to run with this for a while. If she's the next champion, they need to give her a proper, real, meaningful title reign. If and when Gail comes back, here's a fucking thought. Have Rosemary beat her. Have Gail jump to her and put her over. Like Gail should be fucking doing it at this point. Oh wow. Me too, man. I really hope you're wrong about that second part. Oh, God, that would piss me off so much. Aaron Rex works better in regular matches. The grand style should be for guys that go at a faster pace. You might not be wrong about that. Yeah. Seeing that Corgan's gone from Impact and TNA lost their UK TV deal, with Challenge TV, do you see them growing in the future or remaining where they are, or falling? I think they could probably get a new UK TV deal somewhere. Um, if Dixie Carter has proven herself to be good at one aspect of running this company, it's the international expansion. That's the one aspect they've never seemed to have a real problem with. So I imagine they'll get a new UK TV deal somewhere. Um, I think most likely they'll stay where they are for a while. I don't think they'll fall any further than they have, just because right now at least they do have the Anthem funneling money into the company, so they'll probably have more money to work with than they have for a while now. So I think they'll probably be a little more stable. Um, but yeah, without Billy, who seemed to be the only guy that a lot of people believed could right the ship, I don't think they'll be growing much. The Knockouts match was a fail. Madison, who isn't liked by anybody, instead of Allie, what the hell? Well, I guess the point is to continue generating sympathy for Allie by having Maria send her to the back unfairly. Um, I got it. We haven't reached the point where Allie is going to openly defy Maria. I mean, she did it once, and now we've got to wait a little bit for her to get really frustrated again. I don't think it'll be too long. Sienna losing to Brandy was about as realistic as Gail losing clean. Yeah, Gail doesn't really lose clean very much, does she? I can't even remember the last time that happened. They could have said she got injured during the Maria match, but Rosemary aggravated it. And the reason she brought out Jade is to challenge her in her final match. Kayfabe, of course. I still think it would have made more sense if they just said that Rosemary did the whole thing. Because Gail did not look injured after the match with Maria. At all. Like, either one. She looked fine. And then Rosemary didn't really do much to Gail. I mean, she gave her the poison mist and then choked her out. But she didn't really do anything to injure Gail. That's the problem. So I couldn't really see her aggravating an injury. But you could say that she did something to Gail's windpipe, and Gail has to breathe through a tube for a while or something. I don't know, but I think it would have made more sense if they just had Rosemary do the whole thing. Maybe she could have given Gail the Van Terminator, and then say, oh, like she gave Gail a concussion, or like cracked her skull, or something like that. It just seems like it would have made more sense if they had Rosemary be the one responsible for putting Gail on the shelf. Especially if they want Rosemary to be the next champion. Just would have added to her momentum. But instead, they took that opportunity and they tossed it away. I don't know why. Let's see. I skipped the Knockouts match. I couldn't be bothered. There was a time I used to look forward to the Knockouts division, but boy, did Hogan and Bischoff fuck it up. Yeah, it really dropped off a cliff when those guys showed up, didn't it? Ugh. Eddie versus DC. Eddie and Jeff versus DCC was a lot of fun. Glad Storm got the pin. Brutal spot on Kingston. Ouch. Oh, God, yeah. Did you see? They put the backs of the chairs together, and he actually got suplexed onto that thing where the two backs meet. So he was like right on the fucking right on that. Oh God, that must have hurt. Ouch. Oh man. I'm pleasantly surprised that Madison isn't pushing herself despite being in creative. Yeah, I've gained a lot of respect for her for doing that, actually. Madison Rayne is actually being very selfless. She's on the writing team, has been apparently since Christy Hemme left, and a person in her position would have the power to give herself a lot more spotlight, and a much bigger push than she's been doing. But if anything, she's been doing the exact opposite. She's been booking herself basically as an occasionally seen enhancement talent. She's been putting over other people for the most part. I mean, yeah, she got the win here. Her and Brandy did. But that's the first match that Madison's won in ages. In large part, she's been reduced to enhancement talent, and it seems to be of her own doing. She's using herself to put other people over, and, hats off to her. I have, my longtime viewers know I haven't always been the biggest fan of Madison Rayne, but, I'll give her mad props for doing this, because that's a very admirable thing that she's doing. I wish a certain other veteran in the knockout division shared that viewpoint. I wish a certain other veteran was behaving in a manner similar to that. Anyway, Jade Rosemary stuff was great. More of that. They shouldn't have stripped the title from Gail. They could have made a tournament or something like that with the winner facing her. Well, if she's going to be gone for a while, a tournament wouldn't necessarily have covered that amount of time. And plus, she'd already been off TV for, forget how long exactly, but a good several weeks at least. So I think stripping her of the title was probably the right way to go. Plus, I know it's hardly ever applied these days, but I think isn't the rule that a champion has to defend their title every 30 days? You might as well just throw that rule out because nobody follows it anymore, but I like that there's at least an attempt to make that seem legitimate. I think it's already been a month since Gail... Yeah, it already has been a month since Gail defended the title, I'm pretty sure, but if it was going to be like another month before she was able to wrestle, then, yeah, take the title off her. Let's see. Thought Rosemary and Jade is in 2 weeks. I heard Gail say a new champion will be crowned in 2 weeks. Oh, is it? All right. Well, it's either next week or 2 weeks from now. Whichever it is. Like I said, I just woke up a few minutes before I started this, so I'm not on my A game yet. Still a little groggy, I guess. The Eli Drake EC3 stuff has been awesome, very clever as well, with neither guy looking like idiots. Yeah, it is refreshing how they avoided that little pitfall, isn't it? Especially since this is now the second time that somebody has challenged a man to put his world title shot on the line, and they've avoided that little trap where the champion or the guy with the title shot is an idiot who just does it for no reason. No, it's like no. First he says no, and then he considers it, but only if the other guy puts up something too. If you have to have the guy with the title shot put it on the line, that's how you do it. He does it by playing the game and getting the other guy to put up something so the stakes are even, Well done on that. Let's see. Brandy, you could tell, had some awkward moments that showed she was green, even with ring vets like Madison Sienna and Laurel couldn't carry her during the match. I wouldn't call Laurel a ring veteran. No, she's pretty new herself. Yeah, but Madison and Sienna, they know what they're doing in there. Still, the results were just not very good. Jade whispering Rosemary gave me quivers every time. It was like she was looking for a hostage. I didn't understand that part, actually. Why was she whispering? I'll go with it, but why was she whispering? Like, Rosemary? Was she afraid of was somebody sleeping up there that she was afraid of waking up? What was? Why couldn't she just call her name? I don't know. I wasn't sure what they were going with, what they were going for there. Um, Tribunal or whatever you. Tribunal have been booked horribly, and now TNA expects us to take them seriously. Actually, I'm not. I don't think they are. I don't think they do expect us to take them seriously. Actually, they're feuding with Al Snow and Mahabali Shera. Are you going to take that seriously? No. I don't think TNA takes them seriously either. Didn't like the Knockouts match at all. It just made Sienna look beyond weak to lose to a rookie. Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus. I did not like that. Didn't like it. Not at all. Laurel also missed a spot where she was supposed to break up a pin. Yeah, like I said, Laurel. I think she's further along than Brandy is, but Laurel's still a rookie herself. Yeah, it's a strange position they find themselves in, where a fair chunk of the current division is made up of rookies who are still learning. Brandy, Laurel, Raquel, Rebel until fairly recently. No, but yeah, but they have Kaylee Ray in British Boot Camp too, and they pass on her because she's not ready. Because I don't think you're ready. Really, she's not ready. But you got these three rookies who are botching in the ring and all this stuff. God, really? Oh boy, don't get me started again. What do you see the DCC going within the next few months? Well, they got two feuds right now. They're feuding with the Hardys. They're feuding with Eddie Edwards. I would like them to. I really want them to get the world title on James Storm. I want James Storm to be the next world champion. That's where I hope this is going. I don't know if it's necessary that they win the tag team titles yet, because this is really the Hardys' first feud since winning them. The tribunal thing doesn't really count as a feud. So I think as long as they can keep the Hardys interesting, which they're doing right now with this amnesia thing, I think they can keep I think they can keep the tag titles at least for a little while longer. But I want them. I want them to get the world title on James Storm. That's what I want. Let's see. Sienna should not have been pinned by Brandy, but I guess they wanted to protect Laurel. I would argue that Sienna should have been protected over Laurel. Yeah, Laurel is the newer character, but she's also the greener wrestler. Maybe they wanted to protect Laurel because she's Allie's main antagonist right now. Who knows? But if you wanted the heels to lose, I guess there really wasn't a good way to end that. That's unfortunate. When I was watching this, my girlfriend kept on telling me, is Jade joining the Decay? I don't know if that's women's intuition or what, but that really got me thinking. Jade joining the Decay? No, I don't think so. Jade's the wrestler. She's the one that her work rate is really her big selling point. With the Decay, that's about character. That's about promos and acting like all creepy and shit. That's not really Jade's wheelhouse. So I don't think so. Do you think Storm will be champion next year? I sure hope so. Or this year. That would be good too. Gail should get acting tips from Jade on how not to act like a robot. They should both get acting tips from Rosemary. How about that? I'm sure the 3 rounds will be back in actual grand title matches. Well, that just wouldn't make sense. Why would they have the 3 rounds be only in title matches? That's bizarre. Um, should TNA get an authority figure? Well, they've technically got one right now in Billy Corgan and Dixie Carter. But no, I prefer no. I prefer them having no authority figure on television. They can show up once in a while to like make a match or push an angle or something. But for the most part, I like the authority figure being off TV most of the time because that means more time given to the wrestlers. Allie is super over, and of course she was removed from ringside, so the fans had nobody to cheer for. Yeah, well that's part of the angle. They're still generating sympathy for Allie, so the pop is that much bigger when she turns on Maria. All right. Brandy sucks. The way she smiles while getting her ass kicked, like, oh, this is so much fun. I'm getting beaten up. Yeah, it's pretty noticeable. She really needs to work on that. I mean, if they're gonna be pushing her this much, she's got to work on staying in character. She can't be smiling all the time. I get that she's happy to be there, and that's nice, but stay in kayfabe, woman. This is why she should be in develop. This is why they need some kind of developmental system to work on stuff like this. Doesn't TNA have developmental? They used to, but then the deal with OVW came to an end. So, not anymore. I loved how Gail put over a new knockout this week. Oh, wait, she didn't. She just gave up the title. Yeah. Yeah, awfully convenient how she got out of putting anyone over. Like, they have 8 months of build-up to Gail winning the title, and then she can't even put over the next champion because she gets injured. So the whole thing was a waste. Like I said, I'm not saying the injury isn't real. It's real. But it was also very convenient that the injury happens when it does. So once again, Gail, she doesn't have to do a job. She doesn't have to put anyone over. She's protected again. It's like the injury just happened to work in her favor. Even if they were planning to take the title off her at that time, which I'm sure they weren't, once again, it all works out for Gail like it always seems to. The overweight man was his servant. Wasn't he real before? Good question. I don't remember. The editing was strange there. Even if he's an actual real guy, it looked like Matt was hallucinating. Because he's there 1 second and then it's Brandy. It's like, I don't know. Trevor Lee has impressed me a lot in this match. I would even say that he was the best guy in the match. Also, he can cut at least solid promos if they give him a mic. He has potential. I would personally turn him face, repackage him a little, give him a new song, and move him to the Grand Division. His style would work well in that type of match, I think. I don't know if I'd turn him face, because he looks like a heel. He just has a look. He just has a heelish look to him. Maybe if they changed his look a little bit, shaved him, maybe gave him some different ring gear or something. I don't know. I guess a repackaging might work. I think he just looks like a heel though to me. Could use new music though. You're not wrong about that. Trevor Lee was the MVP of the match. Yeah, definitely. Problem with the ring and the camera was that it was obviously an empty arena when they tried to make it look like in real time. Yeah, I noticed that too. The weird thing about the Jade Rosemary thing, it wasn't taking place during the show. That was filmed, that was filmed like before the show or after the show. Point is, the studio was empty. There's no one there. I guess they felt like that visual worked better, or logistically, it was just easier to film that stuff when they weren't filming the actual show, because that was a segment that needed post production to edit it and whatnot. So, um, from a production standpoint, you're doing that concurrently with the show may not have been possible. So I understand that. Plus, I think it was just creepier having like the empty studio there anyway. Wasn't really. I noticed it, but it wasn't really a big deal. TNA has existed longer than ECW and WCW, and yet how many stars have they made? Let's just be honest. Throughout most of TNA's history, they've only been fixated with established stars and not creating their own. Well, you could say the same thing about WCW, really. They created a few stars, Goldberg, Sting, DDP, a couple others, but for the most part, WCW were um, fixated on established stars from WWE or WWF, and I was a WCW guy, so trust me, I know. Um, they are focusing more on building their own stars now. TNA is. I really wish they'd been doing this years ago, but twas not the case. Car collision. That's the name of that Trevor Lee backflip power slam. Okay. Okay. Brandy is just Raquel. Only Brandy can talk. She can put a few sentences together. Her acting ability has not been put to the test yet. But, she was a ring announcer in WWE or NXT or wherever the hell it was. So she can speak legibly and clearly. Again, I'm not sure how much charisma she has yet. Let's see her in a situation where she has to act and see how good she does then. Because we have girls in the knockout division that are legit, like, talented actors in that regard. Rosemary, Allie, who just kill it every time they're called upon to act. Maria, she's another one. Fuck, sorry. There's a difference between talking and in acting. Gail Kim, she's not good on the mic, but she can put a couple sentences together. Can't act, but she can talk. She's not forgetting her lines or anything. But you ask Gail Kim to put in an acting performance, and the results usually are not very good. So right now, I think Brandy's kind of in that boat. We know she can talk okay, but I don't know if she can do much more than that on the microphone. Did you hear Vader in an interview say that he has heart issues and doctors say he only has 2 years left to live? I didn't hear the interview itself, but I did. I am aware that Vader's not doing so good. It's really unfortunate. I hope his health issues improve, but it's this kind of a things looking kind of bleak for Vader, which sucks. I was never a Vader guy. I didn't really have any exposure to him really, but I don't like hearing about that kind of stuff happening to anybody. Rosemary's segment's best stuff on TV. Yeah, that was my favorite part too. You hear Misha Tate retired after a fight last week? Yeah, I heard about it. I talked about it a little bit before. I'm disappointed. I like Misha Tate a lot. She doesn't come off like an asshole like Ronda does a lot of the time. Um, I enjoyed her fights too. I like Misha Tate. I'm gonna miss her. Predictions for Survivor Series? I don't really have any. Honestly, I really don't care that much about Survivor Series at all. I mean, the whole thing is this Raw versus SmackDown thing. This whole contrived Raw SmackDown rivalry, which just seemed to came out of nowhere. First of all, the brands haven't been separate enough for a brand rivalry pay-per-view to really mean anything. And it seems like the only people who who even give a shit about the brand rivalry are the authority figures. They're trying to hype this up into more than what it really is. Like Stephanie's saying to all the Raw people, "Oh, if you lose to SmackDown, you're out of a job. You should act like your whole livelihoods depend on it, because they do," which is horse shit. If they lose to SmackDown and Stephanie fires them, what happens? They go to SmackDown. So SmackDown picks them up, and SmackDown wins again. So Stephanie firing them is fucking stupid. The whole thing is really just annoying and contrived, and I don't like it, and I'm really not looking forward to Survivor Series at all. I probably won't even watch the damn thing. Is it fair to say that EC3 Eli Drake is even better than EC3 Mike Bennett? Both are awesome, but this is awesome. Is it better? I wouldn't go that far, because we haven't seen the full extent of the feud yet. I still think EC3 Eli Drake is the feud of the EC3 Mike Bennett, rather. Excuse me. I still think EC3 Mike Bennett is the feud of the year. Now, this feud has the potential to be as good as that was, but we're not there yet. Damn. Sorry. Sienna is one of the most seasoned in-ring knockouts on the roster. She should be used better. And agree, Brandy needs more training on Explosion like Raquel instead of on Impact. Brandy makes Maria look like Gail in the ring. Don't know if I'd go that far. Agreed, Sienna should be used better than she is. I wish Brandy were getting more seasoning on Explosion and not getting pushed as hard as she is right now. It's just... It's unfortunate that they think they have to push her down our throats to keep Cody happy. So how long is that going to go on for? I don't know. The trouble with the knockout division is they have so many talented knockouts they can't give them all screen time, even if Brandy and Raquel only work Explosion matches. Well, the other problem is that regardless of how many talented women they have, Gail Kim, when she's there, is still getting 90% of the focus. So, on the one hand, they have a lot of girls and not enough screen time to accommodate them all. And on the other hand, you still got Gail Kim monopolizing most of that screen time anyway. You know, it's kind of sad that the only way we get a cool, fresh feud like Jade versus Rosemary is Gail Kim going on the shelf with an injury. That's what it takes to get a feud like this. Because if Gail was healthy, it would still be the Gail Kim show. That's the problem with the knockout division. And that's been the problem, is that Gail is highlighted to the detriment of the rest of the roster in the knockout locker room. I mean, yeah, Gail is great, and she makes every match that she's in better, but Jesus Christ, I mean, it can't keep going on like this. You gotta build these other girls up. You know, when she was teasing that retirement thing last week, and Dixie was tweeting, "Gail, please don't go." I tweeted Dixie, like, Dixie, she has to go sometime. One day she's gonna be gone. Do you want the division to be prepared for that day or not? Because the only way you get it prepared for that day is if you highlight these other girls and give Gail a rest. You gotta make these girls ready for the day when Gail is not there anymore. And you don't do that by keeping them in the back seat so Gail can have the spotlight over and over and over again. Let's see, I want Eli Drake to lose because I want to see him come out with a board and pen and try to emote his catchphrases. I want to see how creative they get with the silent Eli Drake. I suppose they could do something with that, and I guess he could still push the dummy button at least. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. It would be kind of interesting to see Eli Drake trying to work around that stipulation. Like he can't talk, so he's doing all this other stuff. Like he was maybe using visual aids or something. They could do some funny stuff with that. Actually, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Let's see. Oh boy. Ah. Oh Jesus, where am I? Lost my place again. Who should be the next person to face Eddie? James Storm should be the next person. So how is Jeff Hardy not broken anymore just because Matt has amnesia? I don't know. I guess the point is that Jeff was only kind of playing along with Matt the whole time, and now that Matt doesn't remember, there's no need to play along anymore. But I would like, I agree, I would like some kind of explanation for why Jeff is suddenly acting like Jeff again. Let's see. Sorry, but Josh has sucked for a while, especially with his constant lies about stuff trending on Twitter worldwide. Look, I agree, Josh Matthews is not the best announcer in the world, but I'd still take him over Mike Tenay. Oh yeah, him saying this stuff is trending on Twitter. Dude, you don't know it's trending on Twitter. You tape this stuff months in advance. Yeah, I would like him to stop saying that. I was hoping Amnesia Matt would be brought out to make the save, but gets destroyed by the DCC because he doesn't believe in violence. I don't think the fans in the Impact Zone know the new character. I'm pretty sure they don't, actually. Because, I've heard from people who are there that they don't show backstage segments during the tapings. So, they're not going to know that. Plus, those the stuff at the Hardy compound is filmed separately. So they wouldn't. That probably wasn't even shot yet by the time that segment was taped. Oh, fuck. Yeah, my voice is starting to go again. Damn it. Sorry. Do you know why WWE keeps hot potatoing belts lately? Sasha loses her belt for the second time again after only a few weeks, and now Ziggler dropped the IC title back to The Miz after a month. Yeah, I think they're hot potatoing the titles because Vince is always changing his mind. There's very little long-term planning in that company. Maybe there is for the main storylines, like the big feuds. They have some kind of idea of where they're going, but from like the upper mid card on down, they're probably just booking that shit week to week. And when the person who has the final say in creative is always changing his mind, like on a weekly basis, you're gonna get stuff like this. Let's see. What happens if TNA continue to push Brandy, but Cody keeps coming back with one-off appearances but never signs full-time? Or he opts to sign with ROH or WWE, then TNA wasted their time pushing Brandy. Yeah, you're not wrong. I would have preferred it if they do a chase for the title, bring Angelina back to see who will be seven-time champ. Also, don't like how Gail will keeps bringing up WWE talents she wants to wrestle before she retires. Okay, I would not want them to bring Angelina back. Why, for another feud with Gail? How many feuds with Angelina has Gail had? That would just be boring. I didn't like the last feud they have. I don't want them to have another one. No, leave Angelina at home. She's a mom now. She's got a family. Let her focus on that. I have, respect to her for what she accomplished, but I have little to no desire to see Angelina Love make another return. Because I don't want to do I don't want them to do anything that might tempt the writers to bring back the beautiful people again. Because if they got Angelina, they know sooner or later they want to bring Velvet back so they can do another beautiful people reunion because it's one of their big go-to angles in the knockout division for years. Fuck that. No, keep her at home. I also don't like how Gail keeps bringing up WWE talents that she wants to wrestle. Yeah, that bugs me too. I've noticed this in a lot of Gail Kim interviews whenever she's asked about what talents outside TNA that she wants to wrestle, that she wants them to bring in so she can wrestle them, she always gives the same answer. Natty and Alicia Fox. It's like, does she not see what she's doing there? Can you not mention someone on the indies that you'd like them to bring in? I don't think Gail watches the indies that much, to be honest with you. Because she can't come up with anyone else. Look, Natty and Alicia Fox. Look, that's not happening. All right, Natty's not leaving. She's too much of a mark for the WWE to go anywhere else, even though she'd probably be pushed more somewhere else. And Alicia Fox, I think she's just resigned to the spot that she's in now. So those probably are not happening. Gail has only lost clean to Maria. That's all you need to say about. Oh, Gail. Oh yeah. She lost clean in that tag match. That mixed tag match with Maria like months ago. Was that really the last time she lost clean? Christ, that's terrible. Can she not put over? No, you can't count the losses to Sienna or Rosemary because there was interference in those. Was that seriously the only clean loss she's taken this year? Wow. They are nuts to protect her that much. Is she the best in-ring worker they've got in the knockout division? Yeah, but for fuck's sake, you can't protect her forever. You gotta use her to make some new stars already. Gail lost clean to Rosemary earlier this year as well. No, she didn't. She got pinned by Rosemary, but that was only because of interference from, I think, from the Decay and Maria. So technically, she did take a loss to Rosemary, but it wasn't a clean loss at all. Um, let's see. Hopefully, they don't have Brandy win the Knockouts title anytime soon. That would be beyond stupid. Well, she's feuding with Maria in a feud that keeps her away from the Knockouts title, at least for now. So let's be thankful for that at least. What director do you think should direct the rumored Dark Phoenix movie? Well, if we're assuming that Singer isn't doing it, I don't really know. It's Fox, so I don't. If Singer's not involved, then I don't have a lot of faith that they'll make a good decision there because history has shown that they have no idea what to do with their superhero properties. Uh, Honestly, I'm more interested in seeing them reboot the X-Men franchise and just start fresh than I am seeing the Dark Phoenix movie. I'd like to see it, but there's a lot of continuity they've built up at this point, not all of it good. So if they're going to get a new director, just get somebody good. Get somebody who's a fan of the X-Men and knows the universe. Um, oh, try to get Matthew Vaughn back. You know, he directed First Class, and I liked First Class a lot. Try to get Matthew Vaughn back. That'd be a good move. TNA need to explain what Team X Gold is leading to instead of just saying 6-person tag matches. If they think bringing in a new title, they need more than just 2 hours per week. Yeah, they're not bringing in a new title. I agree. They need to explain what the purpose of it is. Right now, there's a flag, and I guess the point of Team X Gold is to have 6-man tag matches, and whichever team wins gets to have the flag. Okay, but what does the flag mean? What does it represent? Does having the flag mean that you get a future title shot? Does it mean you get paid more? What does the flag mean? I don't know. They haven't told us any of this stuff. So you're right about that. Why is Ali still taking orders from Maria? This is going on way too long and might become Gail Maria feud all over again. Well, she's still taking orders from Maria because I guess the story is that she works for Maria. Maria is her employer, even though TNA is her employer. It's weird. The story is that Allie has to learn to stand up for herself, has to learn to stand up to Maria, and that's why she's still kind of taking orders. And you see the development happening. Allie's not happy about it anymore, but she has to build up that confidence enough to stand up for herself. And we saw that once. I think they're this close to taking it to taking it too far. Because she stood up once and says, "No, this was your fault, Maria, not mine." And then later she's still taking orders again. So I agree. I think they need to pull the trigger on Allie turning on Maria soon. Because the longer it goes on, I think the more people are getting annoyed that she hasn't done it yet. It's still over though, so I don't think we haven't reached Gail Maria levels yet because that feud went on several months too long. I think people are still invested in the Ali Maria thing, so let's not screw that one up. Why are the Tribunal getting TV time on Impact when nobody likes them? My guess would be to give Mahabali Shera something to do because they kind of need to feature Shera to keep the Sony 6 people happy. That would be my guess, but who knows? It'll be refreshing to see Rosemary versus Gail wrestle. Refreshing to see Rosemary versus Gail. It's my dyslexia again. It'll be refreshing to see Rosemary versus Jade without Gail holding them back. I am interested to see what those two can do together. I heard that their cage match is really good. And these aren't two girls that need Gail Kim to carry them. And since we don't have to worry about Gail burying both of them to put herself over, it's going to be really exciting. This will be Rosemary and Jade untethered to anything. We can just let these two really cut loose. So I'm excited to see that. And I'd like to see that feud go on for a while, actually. Let's see. To be fair, they did push Velvet Sky, Lacey Von Erich, and Lady Tapa, so they clearly have no problem pushing bad or inexperienced knockouts. Oy. Yeah, they have a bit of a blind spot with that, don't they? I mean, at least with Velvet, you could say that she sold a lot of merchandise, so they wanted to feature her because she made the money. Lacey Von Erich, I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that. To this day, I have no idea. Reportedly, Dixie signed Lacey because she thought Lacey was gorgeous, which she is. She's hotter than the fires of hell, but she was awful. She was fucking awful. Just absolutely horrid. And they just kept putting her in the ring, kept putting her in matches. Like, why? This is terrible. No, I think eventually they did kind of retool Lacey into being like the kind of like the like the hapless doofus who would like be more of a manager than a wrestler. But Jesus H Christ, why on earth they even put her in the ring to begin with? I could not tell you. Lady Tapa, kind of the same thing. Ironically, the best match we saw her have was her tryout against Ivelisse. That match was only as good as it was because Ivelisse carried her magnificently. When you took away Ivelisse, put Lady Tapa in there on her own, she sucked. And now, thankfully, TNA realized their mistake about that, and they got rid of her a year later because she sucked. Because she just wasn't ready for TV. Well, if she wasn't ready for fucking TV, why the hell did you sign her in the first place over Ivelisse, who was ready for TV? Don't get me started. Do you think Jade will bust out her high-flying moves? Possibly. I understand that she stopped doing Sky Yim because she screwed up her knee doing it. But, if it's a cage match, it's a special occasion. It's for the title. I think she might do something, some high-flying stuff in there. We'll see. Buy or sell Legends of Tomorrow or The Flash? Oh, dude, I don't want to buy either of them. I'd say sell both of them, but I don't think anyone would buy it. They both suck. Let's see. Do you think so many TNA originals left the company is what forced TNA to build their own stars, or do you think they would start building their own stars if all the originals stayed? Well, I think a lot of the originals leaving the company did kind of force them to build new stars. Yeah. I think they'd still be doing it if those people were still around, but there wouldn't be as much of a need for it. They wouldn't feel that pressure to create new stars because they still have the originals to rely on. Because we'd still have AJ versus Daniels to do as our old reliable fallback. We do that every 6 months. So we don't need to build up Eli Drake because we can just do AJ versus Daniels again. I think they'd still be doing it, but it wouldn't be as much as we're seeing right now. If Allie keeps doing the not standing up to Maria thing, I think fans will get tired of it. I agree. I think it needs to happen soon. I think Allie is charismatic enough that she's still got people like chomping at the bit to see it. I don't know necessarily how much longer they can keep that going for, which is why I think it needs to happen pretty soon. You excited for the Defenders? Hell yeah. Filming it now. Can't wait for the Defenders. Can't remember hearing your favorite wrestler of all time. Of all time? Probably Edge. Let's see. Thank you. Raw versus SmackDown should be next year's Survivor Series. They need to establish the rosters first. Uh, yeah. Yeah, it's like they don't even have a set status quo on both shows for like more than a couple of weeks before they're going to start doing the versus pay per view, and apparently there are going to be some roster changes there too. Um, I've heard rumors about the cruiserweight division going to SmackDown because Vince is soured on it, so he wants it off the A show. Um, and then they're going to have like the IC. They may have the IC title switch brands, so they're going to have the IC title and the US title on both on Raw, which is a horrible idea. And it's like, well, it just reeks of poor planning, in my opinion. I mean, you could tell it was poor planning when you saw the finalized rosters after they did the brand split initially. But now when they're already making changes to these things like switching divisions, switching titles, it's like you're not giving the audience any time to get accustomed to these things before you change them. And it's one of the reasons why a versus pay per view just makes no sense to do right now because there's no meaning behind it. If you spent like 6 months or a year establishing these separate brands and establishing that a rivalry would actually mean something when it happens, then I might be interested in this. But I don't care. These brands have been separate for a matter of weeks at this point. And you've already pretty much established that the authority figures are the only people invested in a versus pay-per-view. Why should I care about it? What, because Stephanie wants to beat Shane? Like we've never seen that before? Fuck you, WWE. Ugh. I think WWE needs to put their pride aside. Don't hold your breath. And have a real rivalry with some actual separate company. Never gonna happen. Not unless they own said separate company. Problem is they destroyed every other possible rival, so they're like a predator with which hunted all their prey to extinction. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The best thing they ever did was during the Monday Night Wars. Having a viable alternative gave them a genuine push. That's what I've been saying for years. One of the worst things that ever happened to WCW to WWE rather was WCW going out of business because when they lost their competition, they had no one to put their backs against the wall, so they didn't have to try as hard. So after that, they just started half-assing it, and they've been half-assing it in large part ever since. Thoughts on The Miz as IC champion for the 6th time? I don't really have any because I'm not watching SmackDown. Seems kind of pointless at this point. Was the IC title? He's had 6 of those fucking things now. It's just more of the same stuff. Is this all you have for The Miz? Okay, if you don't want to push him to the world title, okay, I get that. Do you have anything? But if all he's going to do is like win the IC title over and over again, I guess he's kind of peaked, and he's just going to be treading water for the rest of his career. I'm not as down on The Miz as as a lot of the smart marks around here are. I don't really have a problem with The Miz. It does seem like he's kind of reached the limit of what they want to do with him, though. So it's just going to be treading water with him now. Wow. Holy, where the hell am I now? All right. Get your final questions and comments in. I'm going to put the cutoff point down there in a minute so we can talk about wrapping this thing up. Right. It's like Dixie doesn't care that TNA is in a downward spiral. I don't think it's that she doesn't care. I think it's that she would rather stick her head in the sand than actually deal with reality. Um, and also, the way she's behaving, it really is like she would rather the whole company go down in flames than let anybody else run it. So she's very stubborn and inflexible in that regard. Because I think if she really cared about the company, she would have sold it to Billy Corgan. Because, like I said, Billy was the guy with the vision. He was the one who was thinking about the future and thinking about what wrestling could be, what pro wrestling could become, um, and what it had the potential to be. And it just seems like Dixie, she's not thinking that way. She wants to be in charge, and isn't really putting any systems in place to allow the company to become successful in the future. She's just trying to keep it running day to day and not really focusing on anything else. Let's see. Are you sick of Charlotte as the champ? I'm sick of it, and either Bayley wins the title or Sasha gets the belt and have a real reign. Um, I don't think Sasha getting the belt again is the answer. Because right now she's the champion that just can't hold on to the belt. She wins it, holds it for a few weeks, and then loses it. So they've kind of damaged Sasha in that regard. Um, I wouldn't say I'm sick of Charlotte as the champ as much as I am getting tired of just seeing the Raw Women's division be just about those three women over and over again. It's Charlotte, it's Sasha, and it's Bayley, and I guess you could sort of put Nia Jax in there, but I don't like Nia Jax. She bores the hell out of me. But you've got other women on this roster. Can I'd like to see them do something with these other girls. And it seems like the division is just about those three women for the most part, and it gets old. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, I'm skipping over a bunch of these. Try to avoid redundancy. Some of them don't really need answers because you guys are having conversations in here now. Um, I think Bray Wyatt and Abyss would be good together. I don't necessarily think Bray Wyatt is good with anyone right now. Yeah, they completely ruined that character. Now he's the guy who talks like the biggest badass on earth, and then he loses all the damn time. You can't beat me. I am a god. Yeah, okay. Guy who loses all his big matches. Whatever, dude. I think Spoonie said something funny about this on Twitter once. This is a while ago. He said that it's crazy how much creepier the Decay are than the Wyatt family, mostly because the Decay don't utterly fail at everything they attempt to do. Uh, he's not wrong, you know. Uh, what superhero do you want to see have their own show on Netflix? They can keep the street level heroes seem to fit the Netflix canon pretty well. Um, let's see if we're excluding heroes that would show up in the movies. I think Moon Knight would be pretty cool. Probably do that on a Netflix show. He qualifies as a street level hero. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't really know. I think Moon Knight, yeah, that would work. What are your thoughts on Moon Knight? I've never. Oh, here's Moon Knight. I don't really have that many. I think he's an interesting character. I've never collected the comics. I flipped through a couple of the trades in the stores. I think it's a character that has a lot of meat on it that you could do some really interesting things with. I've never really followed it, but I think there's a lot of potential for something cool there if they wanted to do a show about him. I'd watch it. Thoughts on the upcoming FX show Legion, Marvel show based on the X-Men universe? I'm confused about which continuity this takes place in because they had the original trilogy of movies, and they've got the Wolverine movies that kind of take place in their own universe now, I guess. Um, and then there's the First Class universe, which I guess are kind of their own thing now too. So where in continuity does this fit in? I have no clue. I haven't really been following it that much. I might watch it. I don't know. But again, Fox owns the rights to the X-Men, so I don't really suspect that Marvel has much involvement here, if any. And if it's a Fox production, I'm not that confident in it. Okay. Hope they remake X-Men with new characters, clean slate, directed by Edgar Wright. That would be cool. Edgar Wright's made some great movies. Um, your thoughts on Evolve firing Joey Styles for that Donald Trump related comment last week? Overreaction much? It's annoying how obsessed everyone has gotten with being PC. Okay, Joey got a little political with a Donald Trump comment. Did he really need to be fired over that? Uh, couldn't you just like edit that out for the DVD release or whatever? Did the guy really need to lose his job over one comment? Look, I don't like Trump. I'm not a Donald Trump supporter at all, but I didn't like that Joey said that, but I wouldn't fire the guy over it. To fire him just to keep things when did we become so obsessed with keeping things PC all the damn time? It's like you can't say two sentences without offending somebody. Ugh, good lord. What do you predict happening at Bound for Glory next year? Rosemary versus Allie, which should happen, or Brandy versus Gail for the Knockouts title. What should happen? What do I want to happen? I want Rosemary versus Allie for the title at Bound for Glory next year. Will that happen? Probably not. Even if it were in the cards, they'd probably find some way to insert Gail Kim into there because that's just what they do. Gail always has to be in there, which is I don't want to see that. Fuck that. No, if they're gonna do Rosemary versus Allie for the title, then let that be what it is. Don't insert Gail just because you have to have Gail Kim in the fucking title match. No, if you want to have Gail Kim on the show, put her in a different match. Just let Rosemary versus Allie have the spotlight because that is the best feud in women's wrestling, is Courtney Rush and Cherry Bomb. Just let them do their thing and it will get over. You don't have to insert Gail Kim into fucking everything. Unfortunately, I think it's more likely that it's Gail Kim versus Brandy for the title, which I don't want to see. I don't want Gail Kim in the title picture anymore, and Brandy is nowhere near ready for that. But, she's married to Cody, so they're going to be pushing her, like it or not. So, yeah, I think Gail Kim versus Brandy is probably the more likely match to happen at Bound for Glory next year. And I'm not happy about it, to be honest with you. Really not. Okay. Huh. All right. And, all right, that's where we'll end things tonight. So going back up here. All right. All right, stop watching The Flash then. I would, except I review it every week. It's like I've kind of doomed myself. I kind of do it as a courtesy to the people who tune in for the stream. Because they like, if they like seeing me review The Flash, okay, I'll keep doing it. At least it's not so painful that I just have to stop watching the show, like in the case of Gotham and Legends of Tomorrow, but it's not far off. God, that show has so many problems. I haven't even finished the first season of The Flash or the first 5 episodes of Supergirl. The Netflix stuff is the best thing for superheroes. Yeah. The Netflix shows they're just doing it right. They're just doing it right. Thought your favorite wrestler was Chris Sabin. You said that a few years ago. Yeah. Sabin is my favorite wrestler to watch. I said this, before the injuries and he started wrestling differently. I still, I haven't seen him since he left TNA. I know he's in ROH now. Reformed the Machine Guns. That's great. But as wrestlers get more and more beat up as they get older, they're going to start wrestling differently. I understand that. I'm still a fan of the guy. But if you're gonna ask me who my favorite wrestler of all time is, I'm probably going to say Edge. Just as a wrestler, as a performer, I think he's probably my all-time favorite. With Sabin, it was like I just loved watching the guy wrestle because I just loved his style and how fluid he was and how all the intensity and like all the speed and stuff that he brought to the table. The injuries kind of changed that, but I'm still a fan of the guy. Predict them unifying the IC and US titles. Okay, so they'll have one mid-card title on one show, and then the other show doesn't have a mid-card title? Yeah, they've got too many championships as it is, but if the brands are split, then you need a mid-card title on both shows, It's stupid. Do you think Johnny Blaze will have his own TV show? Probably not. If they do a Ghost Rider spinoff, I suspect that it would be with Robbie Reyes. Thoughts on the Inhumans TV show? I don't really have any since we don't know anything yet. I'm excited to see it, but all we know right now is that it'll focus on Black Bolt and his family. Okay. We got no more information there. We don't have a showrunner or a cast yet, so there's not a lot to say. Thoughts on Smallville? Um, they had good episodes from time to time, but for the most part, it sucked. Uh, thing about Smallville is, if you look at it now, it really does not hold up at all. Smallville came right before the current superhero show Renaissance, where they were trying to. The people running the shows were trying to get them taken a little more seriously. Um, you can tell there's definitely a big shift from Smallville to Arrow, because Smallville, they were into the kid audience. Um, and just they weren't really they weren't really taking it seriously. Like this show had a lot of problems too. Jesus Christ. I could go on and on all day about the problems that Smallville had, but then you took it to Arrow, which debuted shortly after Smallville finished up, and it was a serious show, and the writers they knew what they were doing, and they weren't marketing it just to kids. There was an effort to kind of make it more inclusive for the more mature audience, and it worked because the audience was ready for it, and they were sick of Smallville, being all kidified and shit. Uh, Smallville just not a good show for the most part. What do you think about Ultimate Spider-Man getting canceled and a new Spider-Man series coming in 2017? I'm excited. I'm happy. I never liked Ultimate Spider-Man. In my opinion, it was just not a good show. And I always had a bad taste in my mouth about that show because the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon series was canceled to make room for it. Now, I don't know how that all happened exactly, but from my perspective, that's what happened. And Spectacular Spider-Man was a great show. That was a great cartoon. Ultimate Spider-Man sucked. Once again, it was way too kidified. It's like they turned Spider-Man into Deadpool, is what they did. It's just the non-stop barrage of jokes, constantly breaking to the fourth wall. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't the Spider-Man cartoon that I was looking for. So I'm excited to see a new one, and hopefully it'll be more like Spectacular Spider-Man and less like the Ultimate Spider-Man thing, where it was like a lot of it was just used to sell action figures. Spider-Man driving a motorcycle across a web line above the sea. What the fuck is that? I just didn't like it. So I'm interested to see a new one, and hopefully they'll have a different take on it, because Ultimate Spider-Man, I just didn't like it. Most underrated superhero, the Tick. The Tick is awesome. I really hope that Amazon series gets picked up, because the pilot was great. Whoever wins the Knockouts title, they should not lose for a long time. Yeah, they need to have a fucking long and meaningful title reign, because so many Knockouts title reigns this year have been thrown under the bus. Jade wins the title for the first time, and her reign meant nothing. Sienna won it for the first time, and her reign meant nothing. Okay, Allie's first title reign was done for a purpose. So her winning it and losing it quickly at least made sense. But the fact is, she only had it for what, 2 weeks, 1 week, something like whatever that was. And then Maria has it, and loses it very quickly to Gail, and now Gail gives up the title because of an injury. There's been no stability with the Knockouts Championship this year. So whoever the next champion is, be it Jade or Rosemary, give that person the ball and let them fucking run with it. There needs to be a good, solid, meaningful Knockouts champion, and it can't just be a fucking placeholder until Gail Kim wins it back. No, fuck that. Whoever wins the Knockouts title next, let that person be the focal point of the division. Let them run with the ball for at least like 6 months. Now, ideally, I put the belt on Rosemary and just have her cut a swath of destruction through the Knockout division until Bound for Glory. Just make her like a long-term, meaningful, strong, credible champion. Bring some stability back to that championship. And when Gail comes back from her injury, have her put Rosemary over. Clean. Okay, she's got an excuse. Okay, she's injured. Maybe she came back a little too early from her injury. She wasn't 100%. Boom, there you go. That's why Rosemary beats her. Cleanly. Not because of some bullshit interference when Gail is about to win the match. Because that seems like the only way Gail can ever put anybody over is when she's about to win the match. When there's no doubt in anyone's mind that she's about to win, and then some interference happens which lets the other person squeak by with a victory. Fuck that. Let Rosemary win. Let her get the title. Let her beat Gail in a dominant fashion that puts Rosemary over in a meaningful way, and let her be a real fucking champion. Long term. So when someone actually takes the belt off her, it fucking means something. Because all these title changes in the Knockout division this year, for in large part, they haven't fucking meant anything. And that sucks. Okay. I miss Wrestle. Me too. Spoonie was really entertaining doing that stuff. Now, I understand, Spoonie's got some health problems, and he can't really... It's really hurt his video output, because not sure when the last time he made a video was, but I miss Wrestle. I wish he was still doing that. Blade would be awesome on Netflix. Oh, yeah, Blade, that's a good one. A rebooted Blade character. I'd watch that. Not familiar with the Sentry. I think he'd be an awesome addition to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think the problem with the Sentry is that he's so overpowered that I don't think he would be a good fit in the show. And the man with the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. If you've got that guy on your side, no villain is a threat. No villain could possibly be a threat. Now, if it's a case of we need to contain this guy because he's mentally unstable, okay, that's a problem. I think if they were going to do Sentry, it would be in the movies, though. Let's see. Worst decision the TNA did in their entire history? Probably signing Bischoff and Hogan. The Aces and Eights thing would probably be a close second. But yeah, Bischoff and Hogan, I think more than anything else, that was probably the most damaging thing they ever did. Because those guys just pillaged and raped the company and just emptied the bank accounts and just left the company with nothing. I don't think they ever completely recovered from the Hogan-Bischoff debacle. Okay, so I guess that's about it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I think we're about wrapped up for tonight. I gotta go eat something. I haven't eaten all day. So I'm gonna go do that. Comic Show Post Show next Thursday, 10:15 p.m. Eastern. Impact streams should be on Saturday for the remainder of the year. Don't quote me on that. If there's a change, as always, there will be a notice about it on my Twitter account, so follow me for updates on that. I'm at TheRealFK9. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. I'm going to go post this and then get something to eat. And I'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Peace out.